Alright, small town cop here, and as you can see, I'm in my patrol car, just watching traffic. By the way, if you ever see a cop watching traffic and his windows are down, and he's perpendicular to the road, unless he's got a radar gun, or he's got his car set up.
5018.
In case you guys thought I was actually a cop, that's my radio, but that's not my call sign. Unless he's got his little LiDAR laser right there.
501 unit.
If his laser is not pointed to the side, perpendicular to the road, or parallel to the road, we can't detect you. So that's why you see the cops park perpendicular to the road and then have their gun out, their laser, not their actual pistol. That means that they're not actually running radar because they can't detect you. Unless they've got this guy set up to where it's pointed 90 degrees left and right. But that's what I want to talk about today. Just real quick, I'm going to call this Being a Cop 101. For those of you who are in the profession or interested in becoming a cop in the modern day, one, God have mercy on you. Because even in small towns like this, where I'm at, it's still difficult because you have to play the politics game of like, oh, well, this person, we don't want to upset them, yada, yada. First off, to be a good law enforcement officer, you disregard that bull crap. You enforce the law regardless of who it upsets. And two, you have to know your RAS, your reasonable articulable suspicion, and your probable cause. You have to know what your limits are. And you have to not be afraid to say, yeah, you are detained. Just be comfortable with saying, yes, you are detained. Yes, you do have to identify yourself. No, you don't have to answer my questions. No, you don't have to say a word to me. But you do have to at least identify yourself. If you have an ID, you can hand that crap over and the person you're talking to can hand over their ID, not say a word, not respond to your questions. That's completely legal for them to do, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that. But you also have to actually articulate in your own head, not to them. You have to know that if you get asked this question in court, why you stopped them. And just saying, hey, I got a call of suspicious activity is not a response. It's not a response to the court. You can't stop someone for just the open-end term suspicious activity. If your call says, hey, I see someone being suspicious in the park and they're wearing this, you can't just walk up to them and say, hey, someone's being suspicious. You don't have a crime. You have to observe them, not just take the call at their word, just like you would any other call, and actually figure out what is this person that's possibly suspicious. Now, they may have stopped doing that before you got there, or they may stop doing that when you get there. Or if you're good and sneaky, you approach away from your patrol vehicle and just kind of watch them from a distance on foot. Best way to do it is always, because people are looking for cop cars, not a guy just standing there behind a building or, wherever. They're looking for your car. So if you can get away from your car before you approach to observe, that's always your best bet. Always your best bet. But don't be afraid to say, yes, you're detained. But before you say that, actually have something to detain people on. Yes, they can always dispel your suspicion. I give the example all the time to guys I talk to and train. You see a guy standing outside a business window or let's say it's a dorm room window. Just, he's pacing back and forth, keeps looking in the window. And let's say he's not even near a door. He's not near one of the doors. He's just, an office window or something like that. that guy could be up to some criminal activity. He could be casing the joint. You could articulate, hey, I think he's casing the place for a robbery or burglary. You could articulate that, hey, I've got something here that is a crime. You can get him for loitering. You can get him for, stop him for that. You don't have probable cause, but you can get RAS depending on what you see him doing and what you can articulate in your brain as to what could possibly be going on as a crime. Now, that guy standing outside the window, he's pacing back and forth. He could be stalking somebody. He could be doing a few different crimes. Be able to articulate that. The fact that he's, hanging around a certain window, not near a door, keeps looking in. He could be looking for a way to get into the place. He could be ready to burglarize, trespass, what have you. Go freaking murder somebody. But obviously, the activity he's doing could be perceived as an illegal act. You have every right to go stop him, talk to him, and make him identify himself. He does not have to talk to you, but he can be made to identify himself. You have articulable suspicion as to a particular crime that is occurring. Now, that guy also could be waiting just to prank his friend coming to the window. That could be his friend's office window, and when his friend comes to the window, he's going to scare him just to prank him. He could, be his girlfriend, and she's going to, if it's a bedroom to a dorm room or something like that, climb on her window because she's trying to sneak in. Not a crime. All right, whatever. It can go both ways. But you do have RAS to stop the person and make them identify themselves. Don't be afraid to say, yes, you're detained. You're not under arrest, but yes, you're detaining. Yes, you can put that person in handcuffs. When they're detained, you can put them in handcuffs. Lawyers will say, like, oh, did you have to? I didn't have to, but I did for my safety, so I know this guy can't run. He doesn't go reaching for something. Don't be afraid to say, yes, you're detained, but be able to articulate before that a crime. You can't go off of, I got a phone call about you. So, I've gotten phone calls several times where there was no crime involved. And sometimes those crimes, just yesterday, I got a phone call about a 16-year-old, and when I say 16-year-old, is basically an adult, left the house. She was not kidnapped. She was not running away. She was not, and these questions were posed to the caller, who was the mother, and the mothers want to say, well, no, she just left the house without my permission. That ain't a crime. I cannot stop a vehicle with a 16-year-old in it, regardless of the age of her boyfriend, which I don't think I even knew the age of the boyfriend. And the mother did not say that the daughter was being trafficked, was in danger, or anything like that. The daughter just left in the boyfriend's car against her permission. That is not a crime. If any officer went and pulled that car over for the purposes of investigating the daughter, or you're stopping the daughter, you're screwed, man, because that's not a crime. The 16-year-old leaving the house against the parents' wishes, and it's the summer, it's not even a truancy thing, ain't a crime. So as disappointing as mama might be, that's your job if you go and stop that vehicle without a traffic complaint, without observing a traffic violation, without something articulable that a crime has occurred. So, for my cops, this Cop 101, first thing, know your laws, know what crimes you can articulate, know some of the telltale signs that's about to occur. 2, don't be afraid to say, yes, you are detained. That's what gets cops, in all these videos online, the most in trouble is that they don't want to say, yes, you're detained, or they don't actually have a crime they want to articulate. And sometimes in these videos, they're going to be doing this for a long time, I'm watching the video and says, yeah, I can articulate a freaking crime. Yeah, you're detained because I saw you doing this. You're loitering. You're possibly stalking. You're being a public nuisance. That can be a little bit gray one. You're calling. You're disorderly conduct. Whatever your laws are, know them and articulate. Yeah, you're detained. Yeah. And remember, you don't actually have to tell the person why they're detained. They actually don't have to be charged or know why they're detained until they are in handcuffs and in the back of the car, depending on your state, or they are at the jail. That's when they have to be told why they are detained. You do not have to tell a person on the street why they're detained. I've detained guys on freaking felony charges, but told them, oh yeah, man, I got to identify you because of whatever, call. I still articulated another thing, but nah, that fool had warrants. That's why they got detained, is that fool had warrants for felonies, but I detained him because of something else. Know your job, know the law, and know your limits. Understand that that person never has to speak to you. On a traffic stop, all that person has to do is give you their ID. If they want to talk to you about why they were speeding, doing whatever, that's on them. But you can always just say, license and registration, please. I'm Officer so-and-so. And they can give you the license. There's that guy I seen online says, I don't answer questions. Cool, man. You definitely getting this ticket, but you ain't got to answer my questions. I ain't got to ask you nothing. Of all the arrests I've made, 95% of them, I didn't ask the person a lot of questions. I never Mirandized more than like 5 people in my whole law enforcement career, and I've arrested somewhere near 500-600 people at this point. Because what I charged them with, I physically saw. I witnessed it. I had testimony about it. I didn't ask them questions about it. I didn't have to Mirandize them. Mirandizing somebody means I'm going to ask them questions relative to the crime. If I saw you stab Joe, I ain't got to say crap to you. I can just go walk up to you, say, put your hands behind your back, draw down after you still got the knife. And I ain't got to say a word to you. Say, put your hands behind your back right now. I'm giving you a lawful order. A lawful order is when you know what they did and can articulate to a lawyer, to a judge later on. You ain't got to explain to them on the street why the piss you're telling them to do anything. They have to do it, but your butt better know why you're telling them to do it. Better know why you're telling them to do it. Whether or not they want to, they say, what am I being charged? What am I being charged with? You ain't got to tell them crap. Ask, tell, make. Put them in handcuffs. If they're a problem, because I've had so many guys. I tell them, sober and drunk, this is what you're charged with. What would you be charged with? This is what you be charged with. After time 3, I ain't saying nothing else to you. I'm like, all right, you freaking know what you're charged. You're trying to act like you're going to get a different response. You're going to catch these charges. You're still going to jail. You're not talking your butt out of going to jail. So, Cop 101. Know your stinking laws and your job. Know what people's rights are. And finally, be confident saying, yes, your butt's detained. If they ask you questions about that, you ain't got to answer that crap. Say, no, you're detained. I need to ask you about, why you're here. Help them dispel my suspicions. Give me another reason for why you're doing what you're doing. You don't want to tell me? All right. Maybe I move on to probable cause. Maybe I don't. But be okay with their silence. Be okay with their silence. If you have RES and you want to stop them, stop them. You got probable cause. Go and arrest them. Cite them, whatever. But be all right with these people being silent and be all right saying, yes, you are detained. Yes, you do have to identify yourself. That's all I got for now. A little rant. I'm just watching traffic, and I'll catch you guys later.